Please tell me what is hosting in JavaScript.
Hosting in the JavaScript in the sense like whenever we start an execution of JavaScript, initially like variable object will be formed in the global execution context or respective context, where the every variable will be initialized in the sense it will be like a variable object will be created where every variable is present in that object. Suppose if you are any variable is defined with var, it will be defined as undefined. If any variable is defined with let const or function, it will be defined as it will be stored as uninitialized in the variable object. So when we are using any, it will be like when you are printing any console.log of that variable, this will use like a var means it was stored as an undefined, right, in the initial run. So it will be printing undefined. But other variables which will be reference error because it was uninitialized in the initial run. So like in the it will be like when you are we exactly variables will be, if it was defined, it will be printed as undefined, and next to me it will like let const var will be defined as let var constant will be defined as and in reference error.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So could you tell me the advantage of using closure?
Closure, yes, like closure in the sense of suppose a function is defined parent function, and so suppose there is child function. Closure in the sense it will be like bundle, like this child function will be bundled with the lexical scope of the uh, parent, like lexical scope of that function. And suppose there's a function called outer function, and some variables are defined inside that function, and if you have defined a child function in it. So now when you are running child function, this child function can access the variables defined the outer function. It's like so like a closure in the sense is a bundle together function will be bundled together with this lexical scope.
Okay. So what is this exact advantage?
Um, Example in the sense you want advantage, right? So uh, uh, suppose you may have defined some variables outside of the parent function in the parent function. These
Mhm.
variables should be accessible inside the child function. Suppose um, suppose in the take in React, we suppose we are using any on-click function, any functions to run the functions. So every time we cannot, we can pass the variables to the function every time, but like it will be like a little complicated. Hard to read all like that. So if we define the function in the parent scope itself, in the parent element itself. So when we use on-click function, if we just call the function, no need to pass variables to the function every time. So that this child function will access the parent function variables automatically.
Okay. Can you tell me how can you what is cookies and how can you create and read it?
Cookies are in the sense suppose you have an you have some, like suppose you are logged into a website, you need to store something like a user password, user login, or you need details of the user session IDs.
I can
So
store
you will
same
be,
thing in local storage also. Then why I will
yeah,
use
yes,
cookies?
I will be explaining difference. The local storage in the sense like local storage cannot be deleted of a particular set of time. Either we need to delete manually from JavaScript, and session storage is whenever you close a tab, it will be automatically cleared. But in cookies, we can set a time range. Suppose after 2 days, it can be expired. So after 2 days, it will automatically deletes. But in the session storage, it will be deleted whenever you close the tab or whenever you close the browser. So
Okay.
like cookies can be accessed even if you open after one. Suppose you close the tab and you open after 1 day, still it can be accessible if the cookie was not expired.
Okay.
Mm.
Can you tell me you have used promise, right?
Sorry, can you repeat?
You have used promise.
Yes, I have user
So can you
promises.
tell me the use of promise.res method?
Promise.res.
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't remember like promise.res.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Like promise.then I have used promise dot all settled.
Okay.
Like I'll explain what is a promise. promise in the sense like suppose you have suppose API call somewhere else, like you are displaying a screen. I mean, you're displaying some website. You need to call some function, like you need to call some external third-party APIs, so that you need to say that after this API fetched, this data will be displayed. So what, or we can say that after this, after some function executing, next function should be running. So what we'll be saying, like we'll tell we'll tell the Java, I mean, we'll tell the browser that wait until this function execution. So in the promise.then, like we'll be writing the function, right? So in the promise, after this promise execution, the function itself then will be executed. If any error comes, it will be executing the catch phrase.
Okay.
And promise.all settled in the sense it will be like suppose you have set up multiple promises. So if
Okay.
you use promise.all settled,
Okay. So,
yes.
do you know what is?
Or-
Yeah, I got it. Do you know what is
Yes.
SQL injection attack?
SQL injection data, sorry.
SQL injection attack.
Sorry, I don't have idea about it in
Yeah.
attacks.
Do you have any idea on cross-site scripting attack?
Yeah, yes.
Can you tell me what is it?
Like yeah, suppose like you are using some third party. I mean, there'll be some more like you are using some third party website. There'll be like we can access these cookies from other website also. To prevent this, will be like in the cookies there are some properties to set the. I mean, in the cookies there is some properties to be like these cookies cannot be accessed by third party websites. And similarly, suppose you have some random HTML, you will be using dangerous inner HTML in the code to display that HTML in the React.js. So if you are using some third-party HTML, right? So in third-party HTML itself, there will be some what we say JavaScript, inline JavaScript in the third-party HTML. So these are like third-party websites which will be attacked in our current website.
Okay.
In the cookies also we have like this kind of properties, like we cannot access by third-party websites.
Okay. Have you ever worked any kind of chart, a real-time chart application?
Yeah, like Omnichannel is a real-time chat application only, right?
So,
Whenever
yeah.
yes.
Can you tell me what are the technology you use in chart application mostly to get real-time chart and send it?
First thing, previously we used Firebase, but like our company is like a global company, which
Yeah.
was Firebase cannot be accessed in the China. So from China, Firebase is not accessed in the China. So we are migrating from Firebase to Superbase currently.
So have you used
Superbase
that WebSocket, any kind of WebSocket?
Yeah, WebSocket we're using for voice calls. So voice call in the sense whenever agent gets a call, that WebSocket will be displaying that call screen on the website.
So what is what is the use of WebSocket? Most of the chart applications they use WebSockets. Firebase is a ready-made
Yes.
library you are using. You can use WebSocket.
Yes. In the WebSocket, it's like when you're in establishing like currently like we are using Superbase. Superbase also uses WebSocket. So like WebSocket is a like connection between a database and our local website, where it will be like whenever anything change happen in the database or any change reflected in any of the storage system, that will be reflected. I mean that connection uses that connection reflects the change in our website.
Okay.
Like it will pass the data immediately. It will, like it's like connection between like displaying. I mean, sorry, I'll repeat again. It's a connection where the data will be connection let you know that some data was changed.
Okay.
So website is a connection will let you know that something was changed in the database. Like in Superbase, we have like whenever some suppose when row was inserted, so immediately in our website knows that some row was inserted. So if you want, you can do change.
Yeah.
If row was deleted, it will let me know that row was deleted in the database.
Okay. Let's move to React and we'll do some React questions. Okay. So what is suspense in React?
Suspense in the React. Sorry, like I don't have like idea of that suspense.
Okay.
I have listened terminology, but like
Yeah,
forgot that one.
Do you know what
Suspense
is
mode.
what are the types of component in React?
Yeah, there are two components: class components, React functional components.
Okay.
Um, before React 18, they'll be using the class components. After React 18 version, mostly everyone are using that functional components only.
So can you explain the concept of lifting state up in React?
Lifting state,
Lifting state up. Yeah.
Like you need about hooks, state hooks.
Yeah, means it's mostly like moving the state component to its parent component. Okay. Do you know what is hierarchy? Yeah, please.
If you want to use if you want to pass any props from child to the parent result, we can use ref. Where in the parent we can function define a ref. In the child component we can use ref variable to store the child information.
Okay.
Or we can in the parent itself we can define a use state and we can pass to the child itself. Or you can use some functions. Yes, sorry.
Okay. What is the purpose of context API in React?
Yeah, context API in the sense, suppose you have I'll explain in my perspective. Like currently we are using omnichannel, right? In the omnichannel there are multiple things. So we cannot I cannot define a variable in the parent component pass to entire child components. Suppose there are 30 to 40 files, right? So we can every time it's hard to pass to 30, 40 files. There's some props. So what we'll be using context API, where we define the initial variables. So we'll be binding this parent component with this context API, and we'll be defining. We can in this when we are binding the parent components, right? So any of the child component, we can directly access that variable. But even though suppose some variables person, this entire child components will be rendered. To prevent this, we can use Redux also, where only the files which were accessing this variable will be rendered.
Okay. Ashok,
Yes.
have you used? Can you tell me what are the hooks you've used?
I have used use effect, use selector for the Redux. Use state I have used. Use callback I have used. Use memo I have used. Memo for memorizing the React components. And use context I have used. Use layout effect. I have not used much frequent, but I have little idea about use layout effect. And frequently I will be using use callback, use memo, and use effect. Use state also like for defining variables.
Okay. Have you used use ID?
Third party
use ID.
Sorry, I haven't used that use ID.
Okay. So can you tell me what is higher order components in React?
Higher order components in React, I think so. Higher order component in the sense there won't be any dependence with a third party variable. There won't be any dependence with the variables or props from outside. I think so.
No.
It's a parent.
Actually, it's a function that takes a component as an argument. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So do you know? Have you heard of the concept of prop stealing?
Yeah, prop stealing in the sense we'll be passing the props from the parent component to very child nested components, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to prevent that, we are using use context sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And
prop stealing we have different. Yes.
Can you give me control and uncontrolled? Tell me the control and uncontrolled component in React.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Controlled and uncontrolled components.
Controlled and uncontrolled components. Yes. Suppose a control and uncontrolled components in the sense suppose you have an input, you have a form, where in the form it will be defined two ways. One is you can manually select input everything. So you'll be defining a text and this will be stored in that particular use state. Suppose if you are using these are called select and input, these are uncontrolled ways, uncontrolled. If you are using controlled components in the sense it will bundle together, select to input to everything will be defined within like you suppose you have a use form. It's like third party hook, which like a use form does what it will be bundled like select input everything like form related stuff will be bundled together with the control, where will be like when we're typing a text, this will be like we no need to write again like on change functions, which this control will be like manually store the data. To be precise, like unable to explain it to be precise. Like suppose like I'll be explaining like what I have suppose we have in a form like to store the login user and user password. One way you can use like input box, and input box for password and input box for username. So like you'll be using different states for both of them. In the control you can use like a use form, where you'll be passing in use form uses one control, where this control can be passed to both of the input boxes, so that you no need to write again on change, or you need to define use state from outside. This use form itself have a inbuilt storing the details, so that you can directly get values. You can get the values by using watch get values, or on submit you will be getting the values. I cannot explain the control and uncontrolled like to be precise, like I know concept behind that. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. If I give you NaN is equal to NaN, so what will be the output? Can you tell me the output of this one? And I've given you NaN is equal to NaN.
Output will be like
in chat box I've given
I guess false.
NaN is equal to NaN. What is the output of this?
Yeah. I guess false.
False?
NaN like it will be like NaN is like a type is number, right? I think sir, no, false. Sorry.
Why it will be false?
I'm thinking NaN is like object primitive type. I'm not sure.
Okay, what will be the output of this? What will be the output of this program?
Function return object. It will be an object named JavaScript.
It will be?
Wait a second. Yeah. It will be an object of name JavaScript object will be printing for this function.
No, I don't think so. Okay, fine. Just can you share an online ID and write a small program